Welcome to another Unreal Foos video. Today's video is a special video that was a request from a Fooser in Argentina. His name's Alexis, and earlier in his life he had an accident in which he lost some of his mobility on his right arm. So it's very difficult for him to execute, some typical shots using your right hand. So he wanted me to give him some tips shooting with the left hand. So what he does is when he passes up to the forward, he moves up front and uses his left hand to shoot. So I wanted to make this special video for him, and I'm going to do it in Spanish and English, and I'll post both links just because I want to get my point across, and hopefully, if I can explain it just as well in Spanish. So let me get started. Okay, the first thing I'll mention is that I didn't see anything in the rulebook that explicitly says that you can't use your left hand to shoot from the 3-rod. But, as long as it's not a distraction, I'd say that it's okay. But, let's forget about the rules for now. It's assuming that you're able to do that and you want to learn how to hit the ball with your left hand, because it's because of a disability, or because you want to play a game like Left Hand Wars, which is, something that some people play where you're actually shooting with the left hand, passing with the left hand, and just using your left hand in all rods. It's a game that's actually played, and it's just to challenge yourself to do that. This is not a conventional approach, obviously. So then, I think the best advice I would give is don't try to do a conventional shot here. And what I mean is don't try to just set up to do a pull shot or to try to do a rollover. Because I think with this setup, it seems to be a little bit limiting because you're behind the ball. So while I think you could master some shots, some conventional shots using your left hand, what I would suggest to do is to do something more unconventional, which is work on the movement and do more of a tic-tac pass. So if you're gonna shoot with the left hand, I would say work on doing more tic-tacs like that, and so just work on having this ball control like this. And then once you have that down, the series that I would, if I were to shoot with the left hand, what I would do is I would shoot a tic-tac series like this. So I would be here, but mainly this, like. I think you can execute the tic-tac series just as well with the left hand, especially if you practice that series. So if you're here, and you're just waiting around, and you're reading the defense, I think you have a reasonable good chance to score on somebody by shooting left-handed. And you can mix it up. I mean, that's I think one of the good things is you don't want to limit yourself. If I were to try to do, say for example, a pin shot, to me it feels. I mean, I haven't necessarily practiced too long doing any of the standard series with the left hand, but just trying them out, it seems like I should be able to execute. I should be able to execute the front pin, but it seems like it's a lot of work, or at least since it's not as natural. I seem to, it's almost like I'm doing a left hook, like I'm shooting from the 5-bar. So it's not. So what I would suggest in here is, instead of doing that, I've tried the back pin. Seems a little bit more natural, and that might be because on the 5-bar, typically you back pin the ball when you're gonna pass as well. So it seems more natural to maybe do a back pin with the 3-bar like this. And and so obviously you would have to work on being able to hit both sides, and just add different options to the shot. But again, my recommendation is work on something that's a little bit non-standard, more a little bit more different just because of the fact that you are shooting with your left hand. So if I were to do this, I would work on slingshots off of that, especially because, at least for me, doing an off-the-wall pass with the left hand is very natural. So, you know, doing a shot with the 3 with the left hand, it also seems more natural than actually doing it with the right hand. So, you know, just letting the ball bounce like that. If you're doing a tic-tac and you're moving it, you know, it should be fairly easy to just work on letting the ball bounce and to hit it. But, you know, so the tic-tac series seems to me like the most natural thing that I would do, and off of this, you know, you can add a lot of different options. You know, depending on the defense, if you're doing this, you can do little, you know, little options like that where you split the defenders depending on what they're giving you. And so, you know, a lot of what I'm doing here with the tic-tac is just, you know, being able to square the shot. So if I'm doing this, you see how I'm coming down on the ball and hitting it so I can square it. Same thing when I'm shooting with this outside guy. I'm going, you know, the opposite direction so I can square it. And the nice thing about this is you can also add other options, like, you know, a bump dink. Like when you're doing this, you let the ball bounce off this outside guy, and then you can go right into the dink off of this. You know, and that'll open up, and you could, you know, like I would get really creative with this. If, you know, if certain options weren't working for me on the tic-tac, I would mix in other things like, you know, dinks using the outside guys. You know, things like that, or even like pull kicks or push kicks. You know, even if they're not really fast, I think just the movement and the tic-tacking can get somebody, you know, off their game, and it'll make you successful at shooting. So I would say just stick to the tic-tac here between 2 guys, and then get creative later as other options open up. So you know, so I'm just trying to think of things that I would do here, but you know, doing that, it's actually easier for me to do the top wall slingshot off of this with the left hand, like that, and you have to be able to hit it deep. But I think that's, you know, that's what I would say. If you want to practice some of the standard shots, obviously the rollover seems almost nearly impossible to do here because it's a very weird, you know, I don't know how you would, you know, you could try if you were to do this. I mean, you're better off just going for a front pin. Rollover is almost nearly impossible here because you have to have pressure on this. So, you know, let me just try. You have to do it on the other side, and it's very hard to keep the pressure on like that. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing that when I have the option of doing tic-tacs. Doing a pull seems like you should be able to do. I think it would just get really hard to do a long pull shot. The straights and the middles should be easy to do, and you know, shooting straights, but doing long pulls, while you can still do them, it seems like it's harder to, you know, maybe do a square, but you know, they're not impossible. I mean, it's all about the timing. But I would also, you know, maybe recommend doing just practicing. I mean, I don't know how fast that really is, and I'm not really getting out too long, so you know, I don't know that I'd be able to hit a dead bar unless I really just practiced it a long time. But you know, there's a lot of options there. Same thing, maybe if you're shooting a push shot with the left hand. Let me see. It seems like, I mean, you're not completely limited. You should be able to do a lot of things. It's just certain options are going to be definitely a lot harder to do, especially longs. But you should still be able to get some good success, especially if you put the time at getting good control here. So, you know, that's all the tips I have for now. If I think of any, I can do a follow-up video. So I'll start with this, and then I'll try to get some feedback. And like I said, maybe I can do a follow-up video. Hope this helps.